Hello, this is Redithin, and welcome to GPC Season 6, Week 6 against Aster, our good friend Aster, and the Montréal Habsols. Another French team. Look at that. Last week we have the Passimianges, I believe that's how it's pronounced. And this week we got the Habs. But anyway, that's completely irrelevant to this battle. So without further ado, let's get right into the team. As enough, we have hold on. I gotta pull up the team on my end real quickly. So yeah, no, that is not the team. Okay, go spreadsheet. I'm just talk right here, so I don't have to cut because I don't like having to go through the video and find places to cut. There. That's not. No, wait. He made changes. Oh. Okay, hold on. Okay, we got this. Okay, believe me, I got this. I am the best at video making. I am the best YouTuber since PewDiePie. Anyway, so I pulled it up. So anyway, first up we have Weavile. This thing's got Icicle Crash, AsterJ, Knockoff, and Pursuit. And this thing was, I just wanted this thing to outspeed Thunderous, I believe, yes. And I could have run Jolly in a speed to outspeed, oh god, what am I talking about? Yeah, but no. I didn't need to outspeed anything else. I was thinking of last week. No, this is how much I needed to outspeed, so I was able to run Adamant. And then we got Icicle Crash, AsterJ, Knockoff, and Pursuit. And really, this thing was just there because, of course, he's got the Zygarde, that's the threat. He's got the Thunderous T, that's a threat. And of course, he's got the Jirachi, which I'd rather not let do things, so this was really my my main way to make sure I just did not get swept by Zygarde or Thunderous, and perhaps Pursuit the Rachi if I really need to. I also had a Pursuit there just in case he tried to switch out with a Thunderous. It was just nice little tricks there. Of course, this thing absolutely just gets destroyed by Megalops. There's really nothing I could do there, but I don't know. I just wanted to make this thing hit as hard as possible because he really didn't have many switch-ins. Of course, the floor just can't really even wall this thing because it's adamant, and Icicle Crash does so much of that thing. So, yeah. Next up, we have Rocky Helmet Shaman. This thing's got Seed Flare, Earth Power, Leech Seed, and Synthesis. And this thing was really my main way to check Lopunny a bit, because one of the problems with this team is that this team is very, very Megalop weak. So I kind of wanted a way to wear that down a bit to the point where like something else could OHKO it, such as like Celesteela or someone like that. And Rocky Helmet really was a way to do that because, of course, it can't. First off, it can't actually like 2KO this thing because Shaman, of course, is pretty bulky. And then you got like the Leech Seed and Synthesis. Leech Seed because anything he tries to switch into, nothing really appreciates the Leech Seed because he actually doesn't. His only grass type is Gourgeist, and I have like tons of switches for Gourgeist. And then Seed Flare and Earth Power hits basically like his entire team. Of course, he's got Thunderous that can switch in on it, and as well as the Gourgeist, but they do not appreciate a Seed Flare, especially if you got the speed drop. So, of course, I got the Earth Power because Jirachi has the potential to set up wishes and do a lot of things I don't like. So it's kind of a way to deal with that. And yeah, of course, and I originally had a rest with Natural Cure. However, I took that off because I was afraid that if I get caught in misty terrain, I wouldn't be able to rest, and then that could be an issue. Next up, we have Mega Charizard X, and this is very, very physically bulky with Fearless, Will-O-Wisp, Roost, and Dragon Claw. And I put enough speed in this so it could outspeed. Basically, what I was predicting him to run enough speed on Zygarde to be able to outspeed max speed Weavile at +1. So I wasn't predicting it, but I figured that was the most speed he was possibly going to run. So I really wanted to run enough speed so I could outspeed that. So either he doesn't get a chance to get off 1,000 arrows, or and I can burn it before it does that, or I can make sure it doesn't set up. Oh wait, no, not that, but make sure it just can't take me out with 1,000 arrows like right away. So I can burn it, or I can go for the Dragon Claw and just take it out immediately. Then we got a Roost and Flare Blitz, because Flare Blitz actually, he has a huge fire weakness, whereas his only resists are Kabutops and his only resists are Kabutops, Aerodactyl, and Zygarde. Of course, Zygarde drops to a Dragon Claw, and then Kabutops doesn't appreciate it either, and then Aerodactyl definitely doesn't appreciate Dragon Claw either, so that's really all I needed. It actually even, without any investment, actually 2 KOs Florges, and yeah, overall just really nice. And it also, mainly, of course, put this on because I wanted another check to Lop. It also checks Jirachi very well, just really, and even Thundurus has a bit of trouble with it. Really, just bulky Zard really just really ripped through him, so it really was the best option. So I just wanted to and I really didn't need to run DD. I didn't. DD actually does a lot against him, but he had the Ditto, so I didn't really want the Ditto to get a chance to kind of wreck me or anything. Next up we have Tapu Fini, and this thing actually is running quite a bit of speed. And this is to outspeed Jirachi without any investment, so I can taunt it and then wear it down. Because unless it has like T-Bolt or something, it really cannot touch Fini at all. Then we got the Moonblast, Nature's Madness, Taunt, Defog. Of course, we gotta have Defog because we always run that on Fini as well as Taunt. And then Moonblast, Moonblast was there just so this thing could come in on Zygarde and slap a sweep. And then we got Nature's Madness because I wanted to be able to I wanted to make sure Rachi was not a switch-in. I really just wanted to wear that Rachi down, and Nature's Madness was the best way to do that. And then next up we have Celesteela, and this is actually enough speed to outspeed Lopunny at +2, and yeah, it's just your standard Totemi set. The Wakan Berry, because my team actually did struggle with Thundurus a lot if it's set up, and so I kind of wanted a way to stop that sweep in case things get out of hand, and the Wakan Berry really did that with a Stone Edge and all that. So then we got a Heavy Slam and Earthquake as well, just because that it really hits most of his team. And then finally we have Raichu, and this was my second little Thundurus check. I was actually really afraid of Thundurus. The other stuff I wasn't really scared of, but Thundurus I definitely was. And this was running enough speed to outspeed it. Max HP actually, with Breast and Spit F, and it's a sub-toxic set. And this was really like my counter to Thundurus. I could come in on it, set up a sub. If it goes for Nasty Plot, I can encore it into Nasty Plot. If it goes for Agility, then it can't really touch me much, and I can just stall it out with Toxic. And then finally, I've got the knockoff over Electric move because, of course, Thundurus is immune to Electric move, so I wouldn't really be able to hit it. And knockoff really is really nice because it gets rid of the leftovers on Florges, gets rid of potential item on Jirachi. And overall, his team really just did not want to lose items. Of course, he's got the Lopunny, but everything else kind of relied on their item a bit, so I thought that knockoff would be really nice in there. So, yeah, a bit of an interesting unconventional Raichu set, but I don't know, it worked in this case against his team, I felt. So, yeah, let's go right into the battle here. As he brought he brought basically everything I expected, but he did not bring the Florges. I figured he was gonna. The Kabutops kind of caught me by surprise. Upon looking at this team, actually did have a bit of a decent matchup, but I figured the Florges would come in just because he doesn't have any Weavile switch-ins otherwise, but yeah, so the Weavile, or the Kabutops, thought was interesting. So I'm just going to lead off with Fini, as he leads off with the Aerodactyl. I knew that I knew he was either running Rocks and Rachi or Aerodactyl. Fini, of course, can taunt the Rachi, and then of course it threatens the Aerodactyl quite a lot, as he does get up his Rocks here, as I'm just going to go for the Nature's Madness, just because whatever he tries to switch in, nothing really wants to go down to half, so that was nice. As she does taunt me here, as I go for the Defog, I knew it could possibly have the taunt. However, I did not want to click Moonblast there, just because I knew this thing can get Endeavor, so I figured I might as well just try to go for the Defog there. In case he tries to switch out or anything, but he does pick that, goes for the taunt, which is a nice play. So here I do go for the Nature's Madness again, because I figured there he might switch, which he does. So I'm actually going to go into my Shaman here, because at this point I had no idea what this Rachi was. It could be like some Scarf, Para-Flinch Cancer, or Flinching Cancer, or whatever. But of course Rob's got Natural Cure to eat up those Paralysis. And of course it's got that Rocky Helmet, so it can deal with that. So this goes for the Wish here, as he does go for the U-turn here, which he doesn't know has Rocky Helmet, so he actually takes like quite a bit of damage here. As I'm just gonna get the Bleach Seed. I figured if the Rachi stays in and gets that Wish Recovery up, Shaman still just 1v1s it with the Leech Seed easily, or if he switches out, whatever he switches into is just gonna get healed back up anyway. So I might as well just go for the Leech Seed, and get that recovery. As there he goes back into Jirachi, and I go for the Seed Flare, and I actually calced it. And since I was maximally defensive, and he did not have like of course I didn't really know what his item was, but I knew he likely wasn't like Life Orb or anything. I knew that Aerial Ace would do about like 35% about, and of course I did not care about that because I have Synthesis. I really just did not care about that at all. So I decided to go for the Seed Flare again, just in case it switches out, because nothing really appreciates that. Actually goes into the Rachi, and I'm just able to take it out with the Earth Power as he goes for the Wish. So I get the Rachi out of the way quickly, which is really nice, because of course now he has no more way to pass wishes than anything, which means Lopunny is going to be worn down so much more quickly. As here goes into Aerodactyl, and here I actually do switch because I did not want to take an Aerial Ace. However, here I am just free to pretty much fire off Moonblasts because he doesn't have any resist to it, as I do go for it there, as it is 41%, which is nice. However, like I said, with a potential Endeavor, that does possibly create a bit of an issue. So I switched out and Celesteela just because of that. I really was afraid of that Endeavor, which might seem like a silly switch because Fini does 1v1 it, but as he goes for the Stone there and actually crits me, as which is really unfortunate. He actually gets 2 crits in a row, which is funny, but I mean it would have been a roll either way. I mean, it's a bit unfortunate he got the crit, but I mean, whatever. Stuff like that happens. But I do go into the Fini here. I just really wanted to scout for the Endeavor or whatever, but just like I said, because he didn't reveal his 4th move yet, so I wasn't really sure what that was. However, he goes to go for the Stone there, and I'm just gonna be able to take it out. So it would have been better if I just stayed in there in the end, but yeah, what you gonna do? Either way, my Fini still is. It did save Fini some health after all, because he wasted the turn to taunt again. Here I'm just gonna switch out into Shaman, as Lopunny is going to do quite a lot with Retaliate. That actually took me by surprise. I was not expecting to Retaliate, which actually made this into a 2 KO with his normal moves. So yeah, I do get the bit of chip damage off, which is really nice. However, Shaman, I do lose Shaman here. And here I go into Zard. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the rocks away. However, I knew that Zard could still 1v1 this thing anyway. Because if he goes for Return, of course it does 35% about, and if he goes for High Jump Kick, I can still live, and I can just roost up until he misses. So I knew that I won that matchup anyway. As here I actually do go for the Will-O-Wisp. I thought that either he was going to switch out, or he was going to go for someone like Power Punch or something. I figured Will-O-Wisp was just like the safest play. I didn't figure he would just stay in there and return and let me roost back up to full. But here I will roost again this time. And so yeah, Lop pretty much is useless at this point. So he does go for the return, and I will take it out with the Dragon Claw. As now this goes into Kabutops, and this thing actually was terrifying, because with Shaman gone, I really had nothing that really that could really take this thing on reliably. So here I actually go into the Raichu, and I went into Raichu because I didn't really want anything else taking damage. So I was really just more of a sack play. So it goes for the Swords Dance here, and right now I was really glad I had Encore. Of course, if I had an electric move, I would have just taken this thing out right here. However, with the Encore, either I lock him into Swords Dance, or he goes for Aqua Jet, and I lock him into Aqua Jet, and then Fini can just come in and 1v1 it. So, yeah, he does go with Aqua Jet. Of course, I live because I'm very invested in HP, as he's just gonna take me out there. And here I can just come in with the Fini and 2-hit KO this thing. Yeah, that does absolutely nothing. And so the Kabutops, he's just gonna let it die here. I don't really agree with that. I feel like it would have been the better play to go into Thunderous to kind of keep this thing around, because of course it did do quite a lot against me. However, yeah, he's just gonna lose the Kabutops there. As now he goes into the Zygarde, and at this point I knew there must have been something up with the Thunderous. Like, why was Thunderous not in here? And it actually, as it turns out, he told me after the battle, this actually is a sub bulk up set. I have not watched this video yet, so I don't really know what he had, but what he had as far as electric moves. But yeah, so it kind of makes sense, because then he pretty much just got revenged by Weavile. Wait, no, we didn't get revenge, but he couldn't set up a sub, and then he just lost to Valarzard or whatever. But yeah, he kind of it did not have a good matchup with what was left. But here he goes into his Zygarde, and this actually might seem like an interesting play. Here I actually do go for the taunt, and that might seem like an interesting play, but the reason I did it was because either he outspeeds me. Okay. Well, basically what it was is that if he sets up the Dragon Dance, if he's speedy and he sets up the Dragon Dance, if he's already faster than me, I figure I pretty much just lose, because there's a good chance he's Yachi Berry. Or no, he's not Yachi Berry. I had the reasoning in my head. The battle's a while ago. I remember. Either he sets up the Dragon Dance, and I was actually really afraid of him being like some Dragon Dance E-Speed set, which could actually pretty much sweep me at that point. However, if I did outspeed, oh god, I can't even get in my mindset anymore. But anyway, I predicted me to be able to outspeed this thing. I predicted if he outsped me, he was going to go for the 1,000 arrows right away, so it wouldn't really matter what I went for there, because I would have been dead anyway. Because if he sets up the Dragon Dance and I go for a Moonblast, then he just dies to Ice Shard from Weavile. However, if he's slower than me, and he goes for the Dragon Dance, then I potentially just lose, because then of course my Weavile's not max speed, so it would likely outspeed, and it'd be able to live the Ice Shard due to the bulk, and then yeah, just bad things. So or I couldn't come up with Zard and burn it, and then you know, all that stuff. I don't. It made sense in my head at the time. But it turned out to be the right play, because he does go for the Dragon Dance, which I figured he was going to do. But here, instead of this actually is another interesting play. I do go for Defog instead of Moonblast, because Moonblast would have been able to guarantee me be able to come in and kill this thing with Weavile no matter what. However, I was really afraid of the Thunderous potentially being Yachi Berry. So I knew that this thing, if this thing turns out to be Yachi Berry and I taunt it, then Zard actually just comes in and just cleans up, because I can will this thing, roost up, kill it with Dragon Claw, and then 1v1 the Thunderous. If I have Rocks up, then I can't actually do that. So yeah, getting rid of Rocks is kind of my insurance, just in case things go wrong and Weavile's unable to clean up here. Sorry, that's a mouthful. that was really tough to explain. I'm sorry. At the time, like, everything made sense, but it's kind of hard to explain my plays here at this point. But and it's also very late at night, so Weavile's gonna come here, go for the Icicle Crash. It turns out to not be Yachi Berry, and just takes this thing out easily. And then he sends in the Thunderous, and I knew that either this thing was Yachi Berry, then I break the Yachi Berry with the Icicle Crash, and either he tries to set up and I revenge him, or I take him out with Ice Shard, or he takes me out and Zard is able to come in and clean up. Either way, Zard just wins this matchup, so there's really no reason not for you to go to Ice Crash. Even if you have a Scarf, then Zard just can 1v1 it anyway. So yeah, so I take out the Thunderous, and we are able to beat Aster, which was really cool because that actually brings us up to second in the league now, which is huge. Yeah, it was a huge victory. So we're not right behind Zazo. Zazo is like way ahead. I don't think there's, unless I beat him. Okay, the only way really with his like crazy differential for me to really catch up with him at this point is if I beat him and he loses another game. But unless that happens, then it's pretty much settled that he's first seed. But yeah, getting the second seed is really nice. Especially because that means I won't have to play him in the first round of the playoffs, where if I do hang on to my playoff spot. So yeah, so next week we have Trev, a really important game next week against Trev. I would say that out of my last 3 games, that is easily the most important. So hopefully we're able to pull away with that one. But and we also have transfers that I would love to announce next week as well. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Sorry this commentary has been kind of jumbled and not as entertaining as it usually is, or at least I hope as it usually is. But it's just been like I'm just trying to get back into recording, and I'm tired. And next video will be better, I promise. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. This is Bredithin, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.